So now I am, what is it? It's November 19th. I just spent probably 2 or 3 hours thinking about business development. It's the morning. I've just been up since 5 trying to figure out what I'm going to do next, like where I'm going to go. I um I realized last night that I have a lot of regret that I haven't fully processed. And this has been holding me back because a part of my energy and consciousness has kept going back to what if, or how could I have done things better, or there was this message of failure. I'm a huge failure for missing a huge opportunity that I no longer have. To speak more tangibly, I was working on a business coming out of university that has turned into uh, I don't probably like a 20 or 30 million dollar business right now, and it's still going, and it's going to do even better. And there's a part of me that feels like I missed out. I made the wrong decisions and I failed because the friends that I worked with on it are still working on it. They're hugely successful. They bought their own massive houses, and I could have had that too had I have stuck with what they were doing, and instead I chose not to. But that last part, I chose not to, is what I was missing. I was missing the fact that it was one decision that I made a mistake on, and it was not all of the work, the body of work that I had done up to that point that I failed on. I've, up until this point, looked at my past intuitively as a failure. I have failed on a massive scale because I wasn't able to get the millions and millions of dollars that I could have, which I can demonstrably see that my other co-founders have done that, ex-co-founders, right? So with that kind of, it's like I don't know if you've like missed out on something. Like, have you ever had an opportunity that you said no to, or that you didn't really fully pursue, whether that's romantic or business or school or something else like a project? And then you see what it became and you go, oh my God, I can't believe, right? We all make those decisions. It's just when that decision leads to a 30 million, 40 million, whatever mistake, it's kind of a big deal. And as a person that was just coming out of university, I wasn't able to replicate and find another deal that's that big, or just didn't have the business mentality. So I felt like a little bit of a failure for, not like a little bit, like there's been a lot of this sense of failure within me. And for you, there may be things in your past that you also have failure around, right? So the question and the thing that I've realized is that I was never a failure. I was actually making a lot of successes. But there was one decision that I made, which was, I think I'm going to stick with this full-time job because it's paying me, and this other thing is more risky. I don't have a lot of tangibility in the future, and I hate living at home. I don't want to live at home anymore, and I need to make consistent income to pay off my student loans and get out of here. And so I was letting my young self bias the perspective of, wait, no, you should actually stay home longer. You should leverage that to work for free and then build this business with your friends, which is going to actually allow you to make a lot more money in a much shorter period of time over the length of your career. Because now I'm 36 instead of 25, which is where that was the choice point. And so I've kind of been living with this. This is the baggage of failure. This is the baggage of regret. This is the baggage of like your past. It's something that I've been stuck with. And I haven't fully figured out how to process or evaluate it because I didn't have the perspective to see that there was just one moment, one choice. If you look at yourself and like the overall failure that you have as like you are a failure, then that gets wrapped up in your sense of self that wears you down, and it makes you doubt who you are. And then it makes it really hard to get back up. And of course, I've gotten back up to a large degree. Like I started multiple businesses after that, but I've never seen the same level of success And so I still feel a sense of failure. But really the thing that makes you succeed is your ability to make good decisions and good choices. And I have had this framing of, well, you're a failure, and it's a battle of like overcoming this failure and trying to exceed the failure into success. But that grappling is always like an inequitable relationship. You're always going to be fighting against failure if you're framing it like you're fighting against failure, if you're framing it against trying to make enough money, if you're trying to not lose money. Do you see what I'm doing here? I'm taking different ways of framing it in a negative way that always puts you in a sense of struggle. And it has put me in a sense of struggle, inner struggle. The biggest challenge that you face when you're starting a business, running a business, is your own doubt. And that doubt can keep growing and growing and growing until you give up. And that's like the biggest thing that entrepreneurs fail at, is they give up because they doubt themselves, they doubt their business, they doubt their actions. So if you're always fighting against failure, then you're always, or like a negative framing, I just need to make enough money, or I just don't want to work in a cubicle or whatever. That negativity will always give you this sense of struggle. But if you look back, and this is where I'm changing things, I look back and I go, wait, I haven't failed. It's just I made one bad decision. Then I can rethink that decision, which I actually intuitively did, but I never saw my career as like pivoting on one decision. And that's kind of huge. To know that entire businesses can succeed or fail on one decision puts a lot more pressure and also realization at the quality of thought that I produce, and the quality of approaching and looking at things can make or break and lead to this or lead to that. And I have this YouTube channel. I have a couple other side business projects that I'm working on. But I think I finally have clarity. I think I have a clearness in myself and where I want to take things. Well, I don't know exactly where I want to take things, but I know how I want to approach the things that I'm going to take, if that makes sense. This is the mid step. It's not about what you're going to do, but how you're going to do it. It's about the quality of the thought and not the quantity of the thought. It's about relabeling negativity and failure and avoidance of failure to a more even-keeled perspective of knowing the stakes and knowing what to focus on so that you can succeed, rather than always be fighting failure. Do you know what I mean? So that's kind of the realization that I have today. It's November 19th. It's now 7:55 a.m. And I will be seeing you in another episode soon. Bye.